Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the Friday Night Chop Session with Stormybman for this Friday, September 17th, 2021. And we are calling this episode 125, It All Comes Clean in the Wash. And it does. That's a fact. Welcoming everybody that's out there, man. Smash that like button as you come in. It's another end of a week and the days are just rolling by. Man, it's like flipping through a page of, those old flip books with the pictures in it. When you flip them and the pictures move, it's like a motion book. Some of y'all might be too young to remember those, but that's what we had when we was growing up to entertain ourselves. Sometimes they'll take scenes from a movie and put them on pages, and you flip them, and it's animated. As the pages flip, you'll see motion in the photos. So, yeah, I'm showing my age with that one. But salute to everybody all the same out there. Appreciate everybody stopping in. I've had a really rough past 24 hours. Stormyman's laptop crashed on him 10 minutes before airtime of yesterday's show, which was supposed to be another boxing raps, filling in for the Three Wise Men of Boxing, while our brothers, the other 2/3 of the Three Wise Men, Scrapbook Boxing and Kurt Sugar, kind of take that time out to get themselves together, both dealing with issues. And so I was going to do another boxing raps. Had a great show planned for you guys and everything. A few guests for the panel. And 10 minutes before air, the doggone thing decided that it's going to crash. And couldn't get the system back up and going for like 2 or 3 hours, man. It was ridiculous. But I'm here tonight, and I'm not crying sour grapes because I'm fortunate to be able to do this. And fortunate to have you here to listen to me do this. So I really appreciate everybody that's out there. Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where, you just have to, take the bitter with the sweet. You know what I'm saying? I want to say salute to my brother Derek McGee, who hit me up in that Cash App before the start of the show. He just says, salute OG, and thank you for that, Derek McGee. Appreciate you, brother. And salute to Blackout out there in that super chat or that super sticker. Appreciate you with that, man. And as we see, we got people coming in here. I want to acknowledge as many as I can early on. We got a brother, Big Homie Coop out there. He says, back smack the like button. People, class is in session, so pay attention. Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. And Blackout was also there saying, salute, good sir, Stormy B, man. Gregory X out there saying, greetings from the smiling coast of Gambia, West Africa. It's 1:03 a.m. out there. Hey, man, salute to you, brother. I hope that you're over there enjoying yourself and you can tell us about those beautiful sunrises over there as well as the sunsets. And bring pictures, please. Appreciate that, Gregory X. Good to see you. The Queen Tay Brown is out there. She's saluting with a couple of drinks. Says, Stormy B, man, salute to you. The brother Kano Loco Sports is out there. He's saying salute. Andrew Charles is out there saying salute, Stormy B, man. And Thrill Hill is with us again saying salute, Stormy B. And Player Made for Life is out there saying salute, Stormy B, man, and chat. And Jay Gibson as well saying salute to Stormy B, man, and the family. Salute to you, Jay Gibson, and glad everybody's out there to rock with us again. As we get ready to get into things, I want you guys to know Stormy B, man, gotta come in here, and you know how it is. I gotta pay my bills. So, as we do these shows, I like to remind everyone out there that if you click on that link that's in the description box, it tells you that you can go right over there to the merchandise store to pick up some gear from the Stormy B Man channel and show some support and love for that. We got those mugs out there. We still have them. I think they're going to be limited now. It's for a limited time because we're going to be bringing some different items in. But the Stormy B Man coffee, tea, Java mug still available, while they last. Also, the baseball caps are still out there, okay, in a variety of colors there. They are pretty good to go. Snap caps, as they call them. And then also the backpacks where you can put your gear when you're on the go. Those backpacks are pretty nice, made by the company Champion, and they make quality products there. Also, we got the windbreaker rain jacket, I should say, and it's packable with that zipper that goes across the center there. You're able to roll it up, put it inside that pouch, and carry it along with like an umbrella. It has a little hood with the draw on there, which is nice. It comes in a couple of colors there, and it's lightweight. Okay. And also, we've got the traditional Stormybman hoodie, also available in an assortment of colors there have been added, as well as the Stormybman tee, which is quite similar and available in the same colors as the hoodie. So with that being said, hey, sales have slowed down the past week. I don't know what you guys are doing, but don't nobody want that Stormybman gear. You need to get you something, man. I'm telling you, I'm sporting one of the tees right now. Stormy got his tee on, free advertising. And I like the black, but they come in different colors, so you don't have to just get the black, huh? And, enjoy it. Get you something. The holidays are coming up. They make great gifts, huh? You can do that. And then also, don't forget, the Stormybman is also still an official ambassador to the Black Gentleman's Grooming Company, although I don't have the commercial yet to play on the channel. What's up with that, Junior the Truth? But I'm still out here pumping for the Black Gentleman Grooming Company, where they have handcrafted products for the consumer. You can go over there. If you enter the code Stormybman, you get 10% off on your next purchase. They have hair, skin, and beard oils. They have lotions. They have pomades. They have these wonderful different colognes that are in the tin that you can spread and put on yourself. Smell really nice, man. And all of that stuff is handcrafted for people who have, sensitive skin and whatnot. You can get right on over there, Black Gentleman's Grooming Company, get you some of that, and tell them Stormy B sent you and get you 10% off. That's how you do that. So, yes. Also, another reminder for those who keep forgetting, the free giveaway, huh? It's like you guys don't want Stormy to give this item away, and therefore that means that you don't want the next item that might be up. If you get this one on out of the way, huh? We got the free giveaway for Jackie Chan's Drunken Master Blu-ray. For those who love the Kung Fu films, you say you do, but I don't see that support out there. All you have to do, again, is write enter to win after your comment in the comment section on any of the content, and that will be tallied up toward the 50th person, and they will receive this wonderful film, which is a Kung Fu classic. So do that, get it out the way, and then we can move forward and introduce some different prizes for you guys out there. So we're calling this one, It All Comes Clean in the Wash. There's a reason that I thought of this particular title. And, I'm always trying to be a little creative with the titles for the shows. And sometimes they have a direct meaning toward what's going on in the sport of boxing, where we see so much transpiring. And, again, this week we were inundated with a tremendous amount of news that saw, different things come to light. One of the things was Mr. Tyson Fury, out there still making, listen, this guy, if he don't do nothing, he knows how to put an emphasis on himself, huh? I mean, he just, what can we say about this guy? What can we say that hasn't been said or whatever? You know what I mean? The dude is something else, man. The dude is something else. But he is one of the big reasons that we've got this, title in this week's show.
Hello there. I'm just after getting off the phone with Daniel Kinahan. He's just informed me that the biggest fight in British boxing history has just been agreed. Get up there, my boy!
This guy is crazy, man. What is his problem? I don't know. But anyway, we got a few more people that have joined us in the chat. We got Mark Stearns out there. Says, salute King, Stormybman, and the family. Salute to you. Terry Smoot Jr. is out there. Says, King Stormy, salute to you. And Derek McGee is back in the chat. Big Texas ATX Cletus is out there. Says, salute Stormy B Man. Salute to you. Mark Stearns is saluting. And Alma Hurtus is out there. Says, salute Stormy B Man. Always learning something new in history. I appreciate 100 facts. Appreciate that, Alma. Haven't seen you out there in the chat in a while. Maybe you've just been listening, but don't be shy. Come on in there and write on in the chat and let Stormy be, man, that you're around. Okay? Good to see you. Fury has always been full of sound bites and everything, and tonight we're going to talk about that. And I expect to be joined by my brother Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, and we will be cooking on Fury, the latest from him, and whatnot. And listen, there's a lot to talk about. So I will save some of that conversation for when Reggie joins on the panel. And I see Reggie is already out there in the chat. Salute to you, Reggie. And my man Watcher out there. He says, John Fury now coming out with threats on BT Sport. See how the confidence comes back from the father. Reminds me of the second fight. Yeah, and I'm going to talk about that too, Watcher. And we'll be sharing something and raising the issue of that as we get into tonight's show. But before all of that, I have something that I want to share with you guys. You know, last night we had the brother Tay Jones out there. He had a fight last night. I think it was his 9th professional fight. And he was talking about this might be his last one. So I don't know if that's going to ring true after his performance last night, because the brother Tay put on an exhilarating performance. I called it bombastic because he dropped some bombs in there. You know what I'm saying? And I had let him know that leading up to the fight that I was going to be promoting him here on the show, and I did that. And I thought I would come back with something else just to share with you guys from that, the highlight reel knockout that was brother Tay Jones. And let's enjoy that for a moment here. Ooh. Yes. Man, I didn't know if that was Tay or Deontay. Man. Oh. He shook up that boy's family in the Swiss Alps, man. I'm telling you. I think his mouthpiece is still flying over the Atlantic somewhere. One more time for the people in the back who might try to say the film was bad or the camera was broke. That's the brother Tay Jones, man. And listen here, for any of you trolls out there, because you know Tay got his channel and everything too. Just remember, he can do that in real life. That wasn't special effects. That was for real. So just be mindful, huh? You got people out here, man, in the community that do so many things, have so many talents across the board. It's a wonderful thing. And Stormy is just enjoying himself in all of this. It's like my toes curl up like I had a nice piece of pie or something watching all of this. You know what I mean? It's exciting, exhilarating, and we still got October 9th coming up, huh? How about that? How about that? Yes, sir. But no, salute. In all sincerity, the brother put on a wonderful performance last night, and I'm glad that he was able to come out victorious with a scintillating performance, and I'm glad that his opponent was able to go home to his family and everything as well. So, and I take it that it was a successful card and event, and Tay, if you still want to hang around and do that to a few more people, we ain't mad at you, because we going to be sitting right there loving it. That's good stuff there. Hey, I want to say salute to my man Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, who has come in. How you doing, Reggie?
Doing good. How's it going, OJ?
Oh, man, I'm doing good, man. Just enjoying reliving that wonderful bombastic, as I called it, knockout by the brother Tay Jones, man. Was that something or what?
Yeah, he let that one right up on old boy jaw, man. And the mouthpiece got up out of there. The mouthpiece said, let me go before you think about hitting me too.
Man, it looked like Sugar Ray Robinson's knockout over Rocky Graciano, man. When I do the Three Wise Men show on our intro, when it shows the film clips of Ray Robinson and Holyfield and Henry Armstrong, that's the clip of Ray Robinson when he hit Graciano, and Graciano's mouthpiece went flying up in the air like that, and he was totally KO'd in the same way. So we could say Tay put on a sweet as Ray Robinson performance, man. That was something, man. I love it, man. It's like, hey, I had said, a little over a week ago when I was going to be promoting his fight, and I did it on that first boxing raps we did a week ago, and took some time out, showed some highlights from his one of his fights and whatnot, and then to see him put on that performance last night. And salute to the brother L-Dub, who had got some information to me right away and was able to help me get that clip up there, because I wanted to put something up right away, and he was able to get that to me. So salute to L-Dub, who's always on the job too. Both he and the brother Trick Nolte, man, I'm telling you, we got people out here, man. We got everything covered, Reggie. All bases are covered when it comes to what we're doing out here on these airwaves, man. And it's wonderful, So I'm just enjoying myself, as I said. You still there?
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. But yeah, man, listen. Let's get down into it, man. There was some things that came across the airwaves this evening, and we can take our time with this tonight, because I'm telling you, it's been ridiculous, Reggie, hearing all of this stuff. But I'm gonna play a clip that is gonna be something that will premiere Sunday. I think it's going to be Sunday evening on BT Sports. And it involves John Fury, Frank Warren, the promoter, Shane McGuigan, and Tris Dixon, who is also over there on BT Sports. He does a lot of the interviews with these guys and whatnot. But this clip here, Reggie, I want everybody, including yourself, to listen to these men talk about the upcoming fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury for their third match the rubber match. I like to call it the rubber match. I know people like to say trilogy match, but for so many years it was called the rubber match. So that's kind of me being an old dog, keeping it that way. But they were having a heavyweight debate. And these sound clips here that we're going to share, I want everybody to just listen to this very carefully, okay? Because one of the things you're going to find out, and we could pick this apart, Reggie, and take our time with it. Like I said, you know, the fact that you were able to get in here a little earlier, this is great, because this show is called It All Comes Clean in the Wash. And when I get to Tyson Fury a little later, I'll explain that title and why. And it's amazing that you see how the stars line up, because I came up with the show's title way before I heard Tyson Fury earlier this week open his mouth. But for everyone that's out there, I want you guys to listen to this clip. This will premiere, the full segment of this will premiere on BT Sports on Sunday.
Well, I tell you how much of a threat he poses. You won't give him $10 step-aside money. That says it all, don't it? It's all I'm going to give him is the beating of his life. Tyson will send him into retirement this time. He'll never box after this. He's going to get beat to pieces, smashed to pieces.
If you look at Deontay Wilder, he's spent his whole career fighting guys that are smaller than him. He generates his power when he's coming over the top of the shot. And what Tyson Fury was doing in the first fight is he was stepping back and dipping. And that's obviously where he got nailed with that shot in the 12th round. Yeah. But there was enough after he got knocked down, when he got up.
When he took it to him.
He took it to him. He held his feet. We would call it in the gym, he big-manned him. He just got over the top of him.
One thing he has been doing, he's been in the gym constantly, training, and he's forced this fight to happen. So in his mind, for all the excuses he came out of why he got beaten last time, in his mind he must still think he's got half a chance, but I can't see it.
Now that Tyson's shown that he can outfight him as well, and I think that's the real danger for Wilder psychologically, is how do you beat the guy that's in front of you?
You know, on Deontay Wilder this time, you know, how can two wrongs produce a champion? Deontay Wilder, he's all wrong now. Malik Scott's all wrong. Where are they going to get a win from? He got humiliated last time, let the whole of America down. Tyson smashed him to pieces. He's lucky to be boxing Tyson again for the third time. Only for people around Tyson, he wouldn't have even got the chance again. Because to be honest with you, he don't deserve it. After that last performance, I'm being honest, he don't deserve the fight. It should have been him and AJ. This man is just a bump in the road which is going to iron out and put him into retirement. And we've got the antidote for him, which I can't discuss on camera, because we're going to execute it on the night unless it's the end of Deontay Wilder.
If they were to roll out of bed with no training, Tyson Fury will always be sharp, because he's just been born fighting. Obviously,
I know there's a big smile on John's face as you said
because
that. I didn't even need to look.
He spent the whole time, he's learnt his craft through sparring. So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done with Deontay Wilder, and I'm not sure this change of training and this new setup's gonna suit him.
People who like blood and snot everywhere and injuries, they're going to have a right night, believe me, because he's going to get it proper. Buy a ticket, that's all I'm saying. I'm definitely going to buy mine early, because I wouldn't miss it for the world, because I want him to cop it. For what he's been saying about discrediting my son's achievements and all that, move on, deal with this bum, because that's what he is, he's a bum. He's a one-trick pony, a big right hand. He's got nothing, he's got no bodily strength. Legs worse than mine. I got better legs myself at 55-year-old. So at the end of the day, he's got nothing to beat Tyson with, only if Tyson goes to sleep on the job, and that's not happening. End of. Put your money on Tyson. I said it first. Well, I'll tell you how much of a...
Man, did you hear these four guys talking crap, man, and also lying on Deontay Wilder? And the fact that these men are now let me just, first of all, Reggie, I'll just throw the mic to you first. What are your assessments of what you just heard right now? And we're going to play this again so people can hear it. It's only a 2-minute and 40-second clip, okay? But there was so much said there that is disrespectful, untrue, and just totally it's manipulating the public, because remember, these guys will be on television now with this show that they're doing Sunday night. They're going to be talking before cameras and microphones, and people out there are going to be hearing this. Go ahead, Reggie. What are your thoughts?
I thought that was William Wallace, man. I thought I was listening to Braveheart for a minute, man. But we all know John Fury blows a lot of smoke up out of his backside. I mean, it's nothing. It's him having to prop up, speak to an audience, try to, they got to do a lot of rehashing. All I hear him doing is a lot of crisis management. He has to go about a lot of rebuild for a fan base that really ain't a Tyson Fury fan base, but they're supportive of him because he comes from over in that country. And John Fury having to talk to regain the confidence of these people, because those people lost a lot of faith in Tyson Fury. I don't think a lot of them brought into him catching COVID. Many of them made plans to come up over here for that fight in support of him, and for him to pull up out of that fight, for the evidence that came up out of there with him traveling around through Vegas, leisurely. It wasn't even like he was sick. He wasn't on quarantine. Then when people spotted Parker at the UFC event. So it began to cast a lot of doubt upon his fan base. And that's all John Fury is doing, talking a bunch of stuff he don't believe. And it should be expected. But giving power the way he speaks, I just don't do that. I understand what he's doing. He has to do it. He has to create level lies. Hell, we can create some lies if they want to play them games. But it's all done for an audience. He's speaking directly to an audience, directly to a fan base that may not even buy into that. Because I think a lot of the Tyson Fury lies and gypsyisms ain't catching on with the people over there. I don't think a lot of people have lost the trust in Tyson Fury's ability to go in the third fight and compete against Deontay Wilder. I just don't see it happening for him, and many people don't think it's going to happen for him. And even like yesterday, I put a video talking about Tyson Fury has never been able to drop Deontay Wilder. So where does he get talking about knocking him out? And where has the talk of his ability to outbox Deontay Wilder? That's all gone. And I say he ain't dropping because in that fight, I watched a push behind the head. I watched a leg getting tripped from under him. So where's this power that he possesses to think he's going to go in here and knock a guy out? It's just not about to happen. Tyson Fury's losing belief in himself. His father's losing belief in himself, and they can talk all that William Wallace talk that they like to talk, but it does nothing, man. Ain't no swords in that ring. Just two guys strapped up with gloves, and they got to punch each other. And we're going to see what happens. The father can't fight. Only Tyson Fury can.
And salute to the brother William Old School Ardent in the super chat. He says, salute Stormybman. Salute to you, brother, and thank you for your donation to the channel. Well, Reggie, we know that John Fury talks, okay? If he does nothing, he can run his trap. But it's the other three guys that I'm really, because you kind of, John Fury, you can tune that guy out. But it's the other three guys and what they had to offer that was so far out of left field. It's like, my goodness, like the accusation of speaking of Wilder as if he were a bully type personality and fighter, which we all know absolutely that nothing could be further from the truth. But to see this, remember, these people will be on television talking. And again, the public can be very impressionable. That's like you and I. We could get on here tonight and talk a bunch of crap and everything and entertain everyone. And people will be like, man, they sure had a great show last night, blah, blah, blah. But we could be lying up the wazoo, as long as we're entertaining people. But that's where the responsibility, where we come in and we kind of, right the ship and say, hey, hold on a minute. You know what I mean? I understand John Fury trying to talk the fight up for his son. That's what he's trying to do. And remember, they had said, even going back to Nicholas Asbury, when he caught Fury with, funny gloves in the gym when he was training with him, they gave him the excuse that they were trying to help build Fury's confidence. Now, let's go back to that for a moment, because one of these idiots stated that Fury could roll out of bed and be a better fighter than Wilder. How? Deontay Wilder is a natural athlete. He could have been a professional in baseball, football, or basketball. And he's a fighter, a professional fighter. So that's 4 sports right there that he could participate in. What do old slew-footed, knock-kneed Tyson Fury, body built like somebody put him together wrong, What athletic competitions can he participate in, And downing kegs is not a contest that I'm referring to, although they do have people who do that at the bars, But it's like, seriously. And for the last time, he's not 6'9". He's more like 6'7". Okay. But anyway, I digress. These men were speaking of Deontay Wilder as if he had limitations that don't exist. Okay. Because he medaled as an Olympian, the only medalist. Okay. Where's Tyson Fury's medal? He probably got one hanging on over a bar somewhere, where he closed down the joint. But this again is, we're talking about athletics, This is what I'm talking about. And these people are speaking. He talked about when Fury got dropped and he got up, and he went after Wilder. He's like, go after him or whatever. But it's like, dude, that's the last round of the fight. Okay, in which the man was really knocked out. He was knocked out. They took a highlight reel knockout away from the Bronze Bomber. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. But again, these things, when they're being spoken, you have to really hold people accountable.
He won't give him $10 step aside money. That says it all, don't it? It's all I'm going to give him is the beating of his life. Tyson will send him into retirement this time. He'll never box after this. He's going to get beat to pieces, smashed to pieces.
If you look at Deontay Wilder, he's spent his whole career fighting guys that are smaller than him. He generates his power when he's coming over the top of the shot. And what Tyson Fury was doing in the first fight is he was stepping back and dipping. And that's obviously where he got nailed with that shot in the 12th round. Yeah. But
I was just playing more of the audio, and this guy is talking about Deontay spend most of his fights fighting guys that are smaller than him. Deontay has fought some big dudes, bigger than him, heavier than him. Matter of fact, aside from his height, Deontay has practically been almost outweighed by every opponent he's been in the ring with. You know what I'm saying? And they make this, they turn it around on its end, Reggie, as if Tyson Fury did something great with the victory that he had over Deontay. But think about how they're trying to big up Tyson without acknowledging anything about Deontay. If Deontay was only fighting men that were smaller than he, then it would probably been even worse for the men that he's defeated. But he's beat some pretty big guys. Dominique Brazil, Helenius, those guys, Chris Arreola. These guys, these are big men. They're no chumps. He put Fury down on his ass. All 250, 60, whatever he weighed, 70 pounds of them. Okay? But when you hear these guys say these things, it's a falsehood. It's like when he says he comes over the top with his right hand because he's punching down at people. Last time I remember when he dropped Bermain Stavern, it was a right hand straight down the pipe. When he dropped King Kong Ortiz, a uppercut put him down for that final knockdown when he dropped to his knees. When the second fight with Ortiz, it was a straight right hand to the forehead. Artur Spilka got caught with an underhanded right hook. They caught him coming in. We could break all of this down, but it's not about breaking it down. It's about looking how they assess boxing. And they assess boxing from a pure fanboyish state. Technical wise, Fury is not even better because Fury does a lot of things wrong. Have you ever seen Deontay throw a punch and punch himself in the face? I'll wait for the response from the chat. Have you ever seen Deontay throw a punch and hit himself in the face? Absolutely not. But we've seen Tyson Fury do this, right? Seriously? Seriously. I'll play more.
There was enough after he got knocked down, when he got up.
When he took it to him.
He took it to him. He held his feet. We would call it in the gym, he big manned him. He just got over the top of him.
One thing he has been doing, he's been in the gym constantly, training, and he's forced this fight to happen. So in his mind, for all the excuses he came out of one.
Hold on a second. Now that's Frank Warren. He says that he's been in the gym training, and he forced this third fight to happen. Yes, because they had a contractual obligation before fighting the second fight. They had a contractual obligation that this would end up being a trilogy. So he exercised his right to go through with the third fight, win, lose, or draw. If he won the second fight, he would have given Fury a third fight because that's how he works as a man. He doesn't have that same kind of consideration for Fury at this juncture, but going into that was his plan the whole time. So it's like when you listen to them talk about these things and you hear what they're saying, this foolishness that I will call it, that Frank Warren is speaking as like he's training and he had so many excuses. Deontay never had any excuses. If you listen to him in the post-fight interview when the fight ended, Deontay said the better man won tonight. And then later, after assessing what transpired, because when you get away from the event and you calm down and you get a chance to start healing and everything like that, you start to review some things and say, hey, something wasn't right. And one of the first indicators of something not being right, Reggie and chat, was that Deontay has a permanent gash in the side of his head, which his physician told him was not consistent with injuries suffered and sustained in the sport of boxing. That's not an excuse. That's a fact. Who the hell do these guys think they are, man? This is why we have to come on and make the statements that we make about what's actual and what's factual. Frank Warren over there talking like he knows better. He's been out of the game so much with losers that he has become totally jaded. Totally jaded. This is not about us versus them. This is not about the UK versus the US. These were two heavyweights that got in there and mixed them up, and it turns out that somebody wasn't on the up and up, and it wasn't someone named Deontay Wilder. And you are hunting for victory so much that you would allow yourself to be blinded by facts. There was a UK announcer who saw Fury's glove flopping around and said, hey, take a look at this. Do you realize that'll give the guy an extra 4 or 5 inches on his punch, on his reach? He said it on the airwave. But none of these men want to acknowledge these things. And again, where in the world do they get this idea that Fury defeated a bully? Deontay Wilder never was a bully. He was a competitor. He gave this man an opportunity to get out of the mud like the pig that he is, where he really, now hindsight being 2020, should have left him. Pigs love slop and mud, and that's where he was. And said, hey, man, get your filthy butt together and I'll give you an opportunity. I'll give you an opportunity as a shot at the heavyweight championship and a chance to put some money in your pocket so you can take care of your family. This is what it is. Salute to Divine out there. I see you, Divine. Yes, sir. Divine, you can join us, bro. So, Reggie, what do you got to say about this? Because, like I said, we're going to go through this, man. We're going to cook on this tonight.
I mean, I don't get where they talk about being bullies and stuff. I mean, this is a man's sport, a heavyweight sport. And from my understanding, based on weight, Wilder is essentially a cruiserweight or a bridgerweight fighting amongst some gigantic heavyweights. I don't get where they talk this kind of talk. When they really speak this talk of trying to tear someone down to build up their fighter, they really diminish the image of their own fighter. But it's UK talk, so it's expected. It does nothing. It's the Elvis Presley talk. And I'm gonna talk about something about that, about the way in which people receive Elvis Presley when he was mimicking and doing the style of art that has, generally been a black style of art. And when he comes along, people praise it and blah, blah, blah. Why diminishing what the originators of what this so-called king was doing? It's nothing they can do with Tyson Fury. The one thing about Tyson Fury is his mind. It ain't so much that his lifestyle ain't the lifestyle of a boxer. His mind ain't the style of ain't in the right place of a boxer. His mind ain't in the right place of a champion. His mind ain't in the right place of someone striving for something great within themselves. He has too many internal demons that his father can't help him with it. His wife can't help him with. Psychologists can't help him with. Only drugs can fix it. And when the drugs that he uses, he needs to be away from the sport of boxing. So, I mean, all this is just to try to get people around this fight. They need to make as much money as possible. That's why they're so bitter about him taking this fight, is that this can be a debilitating fight. They rather him gotten something that was less risky, going in there against an Anthony Joshua, who they wouldn't have seen as someone coming in here with this abusive style. That's why they talk about Wilder being a bully, is because he comes in here with this demonstrative style, this damaging style, and they're afraid of that. So with them talking that kind of talk, they're trying to buy themselves some assurance of getting their minds in the right place to try to motivate Tyson. But Tyson ain't gonna be able to achieve that. Like I stated, his mind ain't in the right place, and there's no one who can fix that but the drugs that Tyson Fury likes to go out there and find. And those drugs don't mix with Tyson Fury being able to exhibit what skills he do have, what skills that he does have, if they haven't diminished, but also that fear that the father has. All of them have a fear of being in that ring against Deontay Wilder, and especially with what they're seeing with Wilder doing. This being that Wilder has led his career up to this point is just being a raw fighter, a raw style fighter, and now he's beginning to tap back into what he should have been pulling out in his career from the onset of leaving out of the Olympics program. But he has achieved this level of success, getting to this point, and now he's tapping into these resources that were buried deep within him, and they're starting to come out. And now they're starting to see that. And with the father at one point being, talking about pulling out, not liking the people surrounding Tyson Fury. He knows it ain't looking. He know it wasn't looking good then, and it ain't looking good now. And now he has a fighter that is super motivated, ain't running away from the fact that he did suffer defeat, but looking in here for vengeance. And his mindset, the mindsets have kind of shifted away from each other. They're like polar opposites in the mindset. Wilder's mindset is locked in. It's set where it needs to be. He's maximizing and peaking the mindset needing to go into a championship fight. Tyson Fury hasn't tapped into that yet, and it's not going to turn out good. And that's why they got to talk that talk. But it's just talk with these cats. But that's all I got.
Well, let me just say this about, and I understand your point, Reggie, about it being just talk. And that's, yes, it is talk. It's it's just wordplay, right? But let's not forget that people hold personalities like this in a certain regard because they have, like with us, some people listen to us intently, and we do have to be responsible in our remarks and how we carry forth, because at the end of the day, for those that find out that they've been jaded or gypped or whatever, then that becomes a negative representation. However, what they're spewing, dude, it's a little more than just talk, but it's utter BS. And they don't sound like professionals at all. They sound like fanboys talking, but they have a professional position in this. And that's what I'm attacking at the core. I want to take a quick second and salute our brother Divine Sense Boxing out here. He's joined us this evening. Salute to you, Divine. I'm sorry about last night because you were supposed to be on Boxing Raps with me last night. And, the laptop crashing and everything. But as you see, we're back up and running. So glad you were able to stop by the channel and grace us with your presence. How you doing?
Yeah, man, pretty good. I just figured, we didn't do our show last night, so might as well make up for it. So I saw you live, and I thought, you're out here talking about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, so I got to get on that.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, I don't know how long you've been listening. Have you been listening since the show started, or did you just pop in when you wrote in the chat, or what?
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes or so.
Okay, because, I'm playing this audio clip, which is only like 2 minutes and 40 seconds of a BT Sports exclusive that'll premiere Sunday night on BT Sports.
Uh-huh.
And it's called The Heavyweight Debate. It's got John Fury, Frank Warren, Shane McGuigan, and Trish Dixon. And these guys are out there, drumming up the fight. And John Fury is doing what he does. It's like, believe me, I am not angry at him because he can't throw a punch in this situation, right? But he can talk the talk that his son can't talk. But it's the other three that I have problem with, especially Frank Warren, because remember, Frank Warren was drawing this thing out about how AJ should be able to go ahead and fight Tyson Fury and everything, even though they knew that there was an arbitration case going on, and they tried to hide that, which we're going to get into that as well, Divine. So if you stick around, we're going to talk about that, because I've got that information too, and I'll be playing it for the people so they can hear Tyson Fury's words himself. But what are your thoughts on this, or what you've been able to hear so far?
Well, I saw that there was an interview on BT Sports. I saw that John Fury was interviewed. I wasn't sure if it was a panel or what was it about. I haven't listened to any of it yet, just basically because I'm going to go live Saturday night on my channel, so I figured I'll probably wait until then. But the thing about John Fury is he's just a typical father for the most part. I think, he tries to support his son, and just unfortunately that he at times seems a bit confused and a little bit flustered. On one breath he's like, he's gonna smash Wilder worse than ever, and and then the next moment he's like, actually, I think Wilder is the most dangerous heavyweight in the sport. I think this is going to be really difficult. I don't like the way he's training over there at Crunk's gym with Sugar Hill. He needs to go back to boxing. So it's like, well, which one is it? And now it seems like he's back on it again, talking about how Tyson Fury looks great. He's going to destroy Wilder and stuff like that. So, but you know, it's all part of the buildup of the fight, I guess. And I just feel like at this point, man, Wilder's focus and determination is just uncanny at this point, man. It's at a point now where I feel like he's probably just making sure that he's taking care of his body. I think the work has been done for the most part. 6 training camps, I believe, leading up to this, and the film studies and all the work that they've done with Malik, it's done. Right now, it's just a matter of maintaining the proper weight that he wants to be at, staying loose, staying warm, and just basically counting down the days. Whereas Fury, I believe, he's probably rushing his training camp. He's trying to squeeze everything in that he can, because I don't think he's been training. I think he's been taking it very lightly, and thinking that it's going to be easy until the right people have gotten to his ear and be like, yo, Deontay ain't playing around, man. You better take this serious. And I think he is now, but I feel like it's probably going to be too late, in my opinion. And I don't think it's going to be anything close to what him, his dad, or anyone else in his team is saying that it's going to be. I think it's going to be a quick night, and it's going to be a devastating loss for them. And last note, and I'll swing it back to you, is one thing that stuck out to me when Tyson Fury did his interview with BT Sports. The interviewer asked him, or he made a comment. He said, you know, I think that Wilder's the most powerful puncher in modern heavyweight boxing. And Tyson Fury said, nope, you're wrong. I am. Commentator said, what? He said, yep, I am. Because Wilder was the most devastating puncher, but I knocked him out. And I took his punch in the second fight. So now I am the most dangerous puncher. And I'm like, well, here we go. You know, here we go, right? And the thing about it is, people are buying into it. That's the most astonishing thing about it, because firstly, he didn't knock him out. His corner threw in the towel. And that distinction gets lost quite often. And it's very irritating. There's a massive difference between having the towel thrown in while you're still on your feet and actually being knocked out. You know, and that's why I think Wilder has to make it abundantly clear. No stoppage, no referee stepping in, knock him out cold. And Wilder knows that's what he knows that needs to be done.
Yes, sir. I'm going to finish up this one, and then we'll move on to the other information that I have on Fury that he disclosed this week. But I'm going to go ahead and run this again so people can hear what's being said.
He got beaten last time. In his mind, he must still think he's got half a chance, but I can't see it.
Now that Tyson's shown that he can outfight him as well, and I think that's the real danger for Wilder psychologically, is how do you beat the guy that's in front of you?
You know, on Deontay.
Now that he's beating Wilder psychologically, how does Wilder beat the guy in front of him? You know, it's funny. They don't give much consideration to someone being able to make adjustments. And I take a personal offense to this conversation that they're having, because as I originally heard it, I'm going to tell you what it sounded like to me. There was a time in the NFL when it came down to the quarterback position that black players, African American players, men of color who could have success in college playing the game at the quarterback position were not allowed to play quarterback in the NFL. And one of the most ridiculous statements and remarks regarding this was they weren't smart enough to play quarterback. Now, college quarterbacks were converted into receivers and tight ends and stuff like that. So they were taken off the table of consideration. Some of them never even played in the NFL as a result of this. And that went for a long time. And most people knew that quarterbacks, they were the ones to get the girl, huh? They were the ones most popular, huh? And they were really responsible because they had to learn the playbook and make sure that their players on offense were where they needed to be on the field when they lined up for their plays. You had to have intelligence to hold that position. But they always said that about the black quarterbacks. Now, the way these men are speaking, they're speaking as if Deontay Wilder, or their perception of him, is he's just some big, dumb jock. Yeah. Yeah. Their assessment of him is he's incapable of overcoming. He can't make adjustments. And they're insulting his trainer in Malik Scott with the same. Because they're saying, oh, him and Malik, I don't know what they're doing, and it's not going to help. Really? How many trainers have Tyson Fury had? I'll wait. For his career as a professional, how many men have he had work his corner? And where is it that he's been as successful in doing what he's doing professionally as Wilder? Huh? Oh, let's step on some toes tonight. Huh? Because that correlation that I just made is fact. This is how they perceive Wilder. This is how they perceive Malik Scott. It's damning that these men, and you look at all of them, there ain't a shade of darkness over there. So this is like the good old boy network, and they're ready to put their sheets on and ride off on their horses into the night. Yeah, I made that association because nothing has changed but the date on the calendar. Okay? This is why Deontay Wilder is a different person going into this third match. Because he had a rude awakening. And sometimes we get that in life. But we also want the opportunity in life to be able to overcome those things that try to not only set us back, but hold us back. They don't think it could be done. I'll play more.
Wilder this time, how can two wrongs produce a champion? Deontay Wilder, he's all wrong now. Malik Scott's all wrong. Where are they going to get a win from? Got humiliated last time, let the whole of America down. Tyson smashed him to pieces. He's lucky to be boxing Tyson again for the third time. Only 4 people around Tyson, he wouldn't have even got the chance again. Because to be honest with you, he don't deserve it. After that last performance, I'm being honest, he don't deserve the fight. It should have been him and AJ. This man is just a bump in the road which is going to iron out and put him into retirement. And we've got the antidote for him, which I can't discuss on camera, because we're going to execute it on the night unless it's the end of Deontay Wilder.
If they were to roll out
You hear this crap coming out of this man's mouth. Reggie, I'll throw the mic to you.
I didn't get to hear the audio yet.
Okay, Divine, were you able to hear it yet or no?
No, because you don't hear it from our end on Discord. You would have to listen to it on the YouTube. The YouTube people can hear it, but we can't hear on the panel.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I would always have my tablet with an earpiece plugged in. But nonetheless, they're just, again, they're going in on Wilder and Malik Scott. And, you know, John Fury is saying his bit about, you know, it should be AJ and Fury or whatever, but it's like they're so dismissive. They're so dismissive. And I can't wait to see them proven wrong. You know, and it would be amazing to see Deontay just come out there and be the better boxer and still get the knockout, which I think is more likely of what's going to happen. But with the controlled violence what was that?
I just listened. Yeah, I just listened to it. I had to go on the YouTube page and roll it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I've been around a lot of UK guys in my life. I'm well traveled, and I played professional indoor soccer, so a lot of UK guys, and I'm kind of used to the banter, the way they talk, and the things that they present to the table. A lot of good people from the UK. Don't get me wrong, but they do have their way of speaking and having their own, like I said, their own banter and stuff like that. And when I listen to John Fury, it's just a bunch of nonsense, man. I don't really take it too seriously. I take it with a grain of salt, because, you know, he's over there in the UK talking to UK commentators and BT Sports, obviously a UK channel and platform. So it's just all about gassing himself up, gassing up Fury, being a part of the home crowd, and they're having a party over there. I don't think. Well, I wouldn't say if he was in the States talking to, let's say, PBC or somebody that would, you know, more or less support Wilder, he wouldn't say the same things, but I think the energy would be different. So I think we have to consider that. I just don't understand the whole thing of, like, when he says, oh, Wilder, he's all wrong now. I don't know what that means. He's all wrong. What are you talking about? He's all wrong. And they keep referring back to the second fight because that's the only thing they have to lean on. They constantly refer back to that. Remember last time? Remember what happened last time? I destroyed him. I ran him over. I beat him up. He didn't stand a chance. He didn't win one round. So that's what they constantly do, is just continue to repaint that same picture. And for us as Wilder supporters, it's like a broken record. It's just like, well, what happened for me? I always tell my subscribers and my followers, I said, look, it happened. We can sit up here all day long and try to cut and slice the reasons why it happened, the allegations and accusations and all that stuff that happened behind the scenes. October 9th, right, is what we're looking at. And for me, I find it quite ironic and astonishing that they don't talk about October 9th. All they say is, well, this is what happened in the second fight, and it's going to happen again the third fight. That's all they say. They don't talk about the preparation. They don't hint on anything as far as game plan is concerned, other than, oh, we're just going to come forward and we're going to beat them up. The complete opposite of what Wilder's been saying from his side and Malik Scott. Wilder and Malik has come recently on certain channels to give long interviews to explain to the people what exactly they can expect, how they've been training, how they've been preparing, what they're going to bring to the table. That's how you present, you know, the right information to your fans and to the people. None of this silliness, this clownish behavior that's being exhibited from John and Tyson. It's just a big joke. And like I said, people buy into it. They're over there in the UK getting away with it. So let them enjoy their moment, you know. But when they come over here a week before the fight, I would presume, and get their hotel ready for October 9th, then the attitude, the energy is going to change. So my biggest thing is I don't understand why they continue to say Wilder's all done now. Wilder's done. He's in a bad place. What are you talking about? The man has been training to beat your son for the past 6 months. He has 6 training camps, if not more. What do you mean he's done? Like it's just a complete false narrative. And to your point, Stormy, you're bringing up the analogy and how they how back in the day they didn't want black athletes to be quarterbacks and all this stuff. And it's like that constant repetition. They want it, like I said, they got to remind us somehow that oh, he's just like you said, he's just a big, strong black guy who can knock guys out. He's nothing more than that. And I appreciate for the most part, the silence from Wilder, other than recently he's given a few interviews. But for the most part, he's been silent, letting people talk how they want to talk about him and being focused at the task at hand. Because there's nothing that people can say when Fury's laying on his backside. What are they going to say then? You know, and that's just the way I feel about it. October 9th is what's important to me. You know, we've been talking about that last fight. I mean, we try to move forward and let people know, hey, October 9th is coming. Your man's about to get knocked out. What do you got to say about that? Oh, but they want to refer back to the second fight. And for me, I'm over it. You know, I've done my film study of it. It's up on my channel. And I'm ready for October 9th. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Reggie, you want to come in with something?
Yeah, man. And back to, like, you bring up the analogy about how the attacks on, always there's this constant attacks on what black folks can and can't do. And these are always from people who don't believe in themselves, and they don't even believe what they state about black folks. Whole mentioning of what you can do, what you look like, how beautiful you ain't, is because these people don't believe it. What they do is they externalize their disbeliefs in themselves upon those who they fear, who they may envy, who they may be jealous of. Because even in that talk, those old conversations in football and in baseball about blacks' inability to play quarterback, to pitch, to be GMs, as time moves forward, we begin to see a whole shadow of doubt casted up over that, and realizing how long the game has been held up with those ideals of people who don't believe in opening the board to competition and thinking they can just leave it to with people who look like themselves. And ultimately what you're doing is slowing down the progression and the growth of a game. It wasn't until they started to expand this game and we begin to take foot by earning it, kicking down the doors, that the realization of how far this game has been held back. Many things has been held back by insecure, bigoted type people. And I think those doors should always be kicked down, and people who spew out that kind of conversation about what you can and can't do need to be kicked in their mouths, because ultimately what it is they're trying to buy themselves some time. They're trying to expand the line for them to be able to be competitive and to earn a living in there before this market is shut out for them. But all they have to do, I mean, if you're going to compete, and you have to put the work in. That's what competition is about. That's what all industries are about. If you can't compete in here, there's other sectors for you to move over to. And with this thing with what Fury and I'm talking about, if you're dealing with a guy who can't box, they want to speak about what Wilder can do, you're dealing with a guy like that, roll over him. Bash to him once again. You given the opportunity. Otherwise, you just been a fat, lazy cat who would have been, you probably would have really had to live a gypsy style life if it wasn't for this guy. The fact that he's giving you opportunity, it didn't fare out your way in the first fight. You go into a second fight, Wilder wasn't that same person, and they know he wasn't the same person. He wasn't in good health in that fight. They know that, and he was hurt in that fight, and still continued to go on. Give the guy his third shot. That was contractually agreed to. What the heck y'all looking for AJ for? Because he's a tougher opponent. He's less risky. Going in here, it don't work that way. It don't work that way. And these dudes need to prove everything that they're speaking of. If they can accomplish that in the third fight, they ain't got nothing to worry about with Wilder. They move right over there to AJ, as long as AJ is successful next week. But all that other talk about whatever clown stuff comes from Fury mouth, it's just to speak to those fans who don't believe nothing that they're saying. I don't even think people really listen to John Fury. And I don't even think John Fury believes in none of that stuff, because John Fury sounds just like one of them old backwood bigots who talk this talk about black folks not being able to quarterback. And now those same folks is rolling over in their damn graves along with punks like Hitler. Don't believe none of that talk they talk. They talk it because they can't do it. But they're going to find out on, October 9th, of what's real and what's fake. We're gonna see how much, and it's always good when people speak the stuff on camera, or thing that's archived and the evidence, because sometimes those words can be pulled up and you can become the laughing stock of what you speak. So we're gonna begin to see this. We're gonna see what Tyson Fury rolls out there and looks like, and hopefully all things are leveled and fair in this play of things. My only worry is what kind of ill stuff they allow to go on, what kind of backroom stuff that we don't track, what kind of levels inside bloodstreams are allowed, especially dealing with that clown Mauricio in this event. But I'm pretty sure, I have much faith in thinking the last laugh is going to be on John Fury and those guys on that panel.
Yeah. And again, when you are able to break it down to what's really transpiring here, it is so much, it's like peeling the layers of an onion. There's a lot of disrespect here, and a lot of it comes from the fact that Wilder is more than what they thought, even. Because when you look at how the fight ended up, and I'm talking about fight number 2, Wilder not only finished on his feet, but he was still engaging at the time that his cornerman threw the towel in. Had he been anyone else, they would have been talking about the heart that he showed. And because it's Wilder, they don't want to associate or attribute that to him. Notice they're using other terminology like bully, and things of that nature. But when you talk about heart, spirit, warrior, those are the type of things that are more descriptive of Deontay Wilder and his approach to the fight, and has been through his career. But his detractors do not want to associate anything of strength with the man. Nothing of strength, no values that someone would dare cast their eyes and say, I would like to be like him. That's not what they want. That's why they're building statues and everything for this scumbag of a cheater. Okay? So when these men get together on their little panel like they did, and they're going to have this discussion come Sunday night, this is more throwing what they perceive to be soil on top of someone that they considered buried or trying to bury. But remember this saying for each and every one of you out there in the chat and you brothers here on the panel. The truth crushed to the earth will always rise. Always. I want to take a moment now and go right on into the other part of the show where I said I was going to get into the things that Tyson Fury has said earlier this week, where in an interview that he conducted with one of those UK journalists, he admitted that this whole thing has been a charade as far as how it's played out. And as I play this, I will stop at certain intervals so we can discuss. But I want you guys to know that Tyson Fury isn't as crazy as he acts, nor is he doing everything that he does on his own accord. He's a puppet. He's being on the end of that marionette like Pinocchio. But he's allowing himself to be used very well. But you have to know what you're dealing with when you talk about these things with people, because it's like the world is a stage. It truly is. And they showing you more and more every day.
I was never very optimistic about that AJ fight happening. But all of a sudden, it's my fault. I don't want to fight because I'm a shithouse. Please. I fight him on here now, I'd flatten him.
I have spoken to him and he did say it was you that backed out.
Oh, yeah. I fought the best men in the world at their prime, but I'm scared of this plum. I'm going to call him a chicken nugget.
Why chicken nugget?
Just because he's ripped and he's in good shape.
Now, this is Fury leading into the interview. They actually took that little sound bite and it played from earlier. And the thing about it is, we're going to get to that quote, but having him say the things that he said, it's all going to make sense as we get along into this interview. And I'm going to skip around to a few points because I want you guys to be able to really hear certain things. We're going to pick it up a little bit later where, try to get this here.
Big event like Vegas or big world title fights, then I do crazy ring walks and things.
Can I listen to someone like you? Because I played football and people say to me, oh, did you enjoy playing football? I always felt it was a bit of a pressure. Like, you know, waiting for a game, like the anxiety of it, the nervousness of making a mistake. But it seems to me you absolutely love boxing and you can't wait for that moment. And there were some players that I played with who were like that. I wish I was like that.
Yeah. See me, though, I'm a very unusual character when it comes to the boxing game. I'm nervous that I'm not nervous in the changing room. I get all sleepy and things like that. I'm not even interested. Like, oh, you're going to be fighting the world's biggest puncher, aren't you? Oh, yeah, am I? Cheers. Give us knock in half an hour when I'm ready. But sometimes I think it's bad that I don't get butterflies and nervous and really up for it. When I fought Wilder last time, I was so lackadaisical going to the ring. I walked to it on a throne thing and I wasn't really awake. And he cracked me with a right hand in round 1 or round 2 and I thought, right, shit, let's go. It's something very natural because my brothers, they boxed and pros and things and they were all nervous about, it's not about getting punched in the face, it's about performing to your ability, isn't it? But I know if I've trained hard and I've ate right and done everything right, then I know that's all I can do. My outlook on sport is very simple. I sacrifice my whole life, and when I'm in training camps for 8-10 weeks, I don't even drink a can of pop. I won't even have a Diet Coke or nothing. It's just eat, sleep, training. And I won't go out, I won't stay out late, I'll go to bed every night, 8-9 o'clock. I'll wake up early, I'll do exactly what the nutritionist tells me to do, and I won't break anything. There's not one thing more I could sacrifice while I'm in a training camp.
Do you have to tell yourself that to make sure that when you walk into the ring it's perfect? Is that...
I don't tell myself it, but because I automatically know that I've not cut any corners, and I know, right, that if I go into a big fight, one of these guys, and he beats me, then obviously I'm not good enough, because I know that I put in that much work, and I've sparred the best, and I've done everything that I possibly can. So if I lose to a better man on the night, I'll shake his hand and say, fair play, pal, you're a good fighter.
Now, you see that? He's talking about his approach to the fight game. How he sacrificed his whole life to do these things. You know, interesting set of words that he used in that, because he's not fighting for himself. He's fighting for someone else. And you heard him say that when he got carried into that ring, he wasn't even there. It was like mentally or whatever. And it wasn't until Wilder hit him with that right hand in the first round of that fight. This fool doesn't even have enough sense about himself to be nervous or anything in a fight. He said he doesn't get nervous or anything. I don't necessarily believe that. It sounds nice to when you're giving an interview, makes you sound courageous or whatever. But that's the thing. Fury is using a psychological ploy here and trying to make himself, again, sound sufficient, sound like he's got it together when he really doesn't. You see, and for someone who would like to try to pair himself as a modern or latter day Ali, nothing could be further from the truth. You see, because Ali was a man of sound character. He had a strong foundation. This man's foundation is as he built his castle on sand. And you can see it if you know the right things to look for. But this is why, again, a lead into where we're going with this, it's important to point these things out. The worst thing that happened to Wilder was the snake that he put in the cage bit him when he tried to put something in the cage for the snake to die. Now, the snake wasn't poisonous, but the venom still had to be extracted, or an antidote had to be given. So now Wilder is jaded as a result of recognizing that the snake can bite. For those that were on that panel for that show that's coming up Sunday night, they forget one thing. Not only the things that I mentioned, and I gave the analogy of like the black quarterbacks and everything, but how a person who has spirit and character, when they're knocked down, they get up. They don't look for the exit. They look to kick the door in, where the flame is hot on the other side. They've awakened the sleeping giant, and this is what's going to transpire. Now you're going to see what Fury is really made of, because he has to contend with everything that transpired prior to now. And those things that are of the questionable nature, meaning, i.e. cheating, he's going to have to deal with that. And upcoming, he's going to tell you the price that he has to pay for this. But he doesn't realize he's going to have to pay even more than that. Do you brothers have something to say on this right now before I go further with this soundbite? Reggie?
No, I don't really got too much on Tyson Fury, man. It's just, like I say, there's a lack of belief between all of them. I don't think this dude's mindset is in the right place. He has to psych himself out. I think there's a lot of hypnosis that has to be done with Tyson Fury. The battle is within himself, and his mind ain't in the right place, especially going into this fight. Man, they got Wilder in a different state of mind, and if his mind ain't locked in here, it's gonna be a brutal night for Tyson Fury. It's gonna be a brutal night, and they may have to turn to Mark Breland in this fight, and hopefully Wilder beats this guy in the submission. Ain't got to be so much in knocking him out. Just go in here, beat the guy in the submission, box this dude's head off, box him into submission, make him bow down. He think he a king? Let's flip the empire, make him bow down. But him talking that talk, that's he's speaking to who knows what's the audience, to try to buy them back. They don't believe in him. I don't even know if they're going to even fly back over here for him. They can't trust this dude. But what they're seeing from Wilder, I think that worries a lot of these dudes. It don't just worry Tyson Fury, it worries a lot of these fans, and whether or not they can believe in putting money up for him, paying for these hotels out here in Vegas, paying for those round-trip flights to fly international for this dude who may go in this fight and fold up. And if he don't come in here fighting right, even with Wilder coming in here boxing, Wilder can always switch back to what he's known for, and that's knocking the guy out with the single punch. But that's all I got with that.
You got something, Divine?
Yeah, just real quick. I was able to listen to a little bit of the clip, rolled it back on YouTube again. That whole thing about him not being nervous and, he's kind of sleepy in the locker room and he wasn't awoken until Wilder punched him with the right hand and all that. Man, that's just all comedy. Absolute comedy. So I'll leave that at that. But one thing that I did want to point out is, I don't know if you guys noticed, during the Inside Fury vs. Wilder 3 episode 1 that Fox PBC put out, Fury actually said towards the end of that episode that he has to train constantly. If he's not training, he falls into depression. And not only that, but he says that he'll probably go back down the dark alleyway, which I'm assuming he means drugs and alcohol. And he said that if he's not active, then he slips into that. And I find that quite interesting. Now, I think a lot of people have various opinions about Fury the man, not the boxer, but Fury the man. For me, I think this man has some serious mental health issues on a lot of different variations. And, you kind of see it. I would probably assume that if he's not bipolar, he's probably definitely borderline bipolar. Just the things that he says, the way he acts, the way he carries himself. And I just want to touch on something real quickly about how you guys were mentioning earlier about him not giving Wilder any respect for actually giving him the fight the first time around. And for me, I'm a man that upholds principles as much as I possibly can, a man of honor. Lived in Japan for a few years, studied some Japanese martial arts, and I feel like honor is something that's missing in today's society. Allies or enemies, it doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, you came out of the gutter and nobody else wanted to fight Fury. Nobody would have taken that chance. Joshua, Dillian White, any of the top heavyweights at that time. Why would they? Because you take the risk of beating a man who's coming out of this massive layoff, right? So Wilder said, it's all good. And he extended his hand, brought the man out of the gutter. And that, if I had to pick one thing out of the hat that irritates me to the maximum level, is that instance right there on how you completely forgot who Deontay is. Now you're turning him to be this man of no integrity, a bully, and you discredit the man's name. You discredit everything about him, but you forgot. The code of honor has been lost, right? And that's probably what irritates me the most. I do want to swing a question real quick to Reggie. It's my first time being on the panel with you guys, and it's an honor to finally meet you, Reggie, because I do watch Stormy B's channel quite often, and I appreciate and have a lot of respect for your knowledge of the sport. So I just wanted to ask you a quick question. How do you, given everything that we've spoken about so far about Fury, I don't think he's mentally ready. I think we all agree on that. So how do you think he's going to show up on fight night? Do you think he's going to come in and do what he says he's going to do and try to walk Wilder down? Or do you think he's actually going to go and try to box and force Wilder into a boxing match? How do you see it playing out? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think and salute to you as well, bro. I think he's going to have to go in here and try to wing it. He's going to have to box. He's going to deal with someone who's going to be able to stand up against him with his feet up under him. And is going to box. He's going to have no other choice, because even walking Wilder down, it did what for him? It really didn't do too much of anything. He had a free target of 7 rounds in that fight, because Wilder was done after throwing that second big punch that landed on him. You can see his legs weren't there. And even with Fury catching Wilder, walking forward at him didn't give Tyson Fury really the results he wanted. It was just that Wilder was a fighter who needed to be pulled out the fight, regardless of him wanting to die in the ring or whatnot. He needed to be pulled out of that fight, and Tyson Fury couldn't do anything with him. And with punches flying back at Tyson Fury, he has no other choice but to back up. Him carrying all that weight, this ain't an MMA match. You're not picking a guy up to slam him down. You're not doing any of that. You stand up on your feet to fight like a man, and it's about who's the best pugilist going into this thing. And I think with Wilder showcasing what he's displaying to everyone else, him with volume, greater activity, and more accurate with that activity, he can keep Tyson Fury's hands locked up in his pockets, utilizing more of the feints. I mean, and even something that he's going to have to be forced to fight, because even he moves forward. The one thing that I like that came out of that conversation y'all had last week on Drew's show, Stormybman, was this talk of clinch work. That's going to be very vital into this fight, and also going down to the body. Fury has no other choice but to try to. He's going to be forced to move away from Wilder and have to get in there and fight. Wilder implementing power along with speed and volume. Fury walking forward does nothing. If you walking forward with no power, does anything except you're going to try to lay on the guy. And I don't think that's going to happen in this fight for him. So he's going to have to try to stand up toe to toe with him, and we're going to see what he's able to do in there. But that's my thoughts on it.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, let me pick it up. This next clip here is why he's thinking that he won't lose to anybody else, you know, and he doesn't see himself losing going forward in his career.
But they don't have that attitude, because they want to make excuses why they lost, or this was wrong, that was wrong, I've hurt my foot, I've hurt my leg, I've had a bad training camp. And they can't face reality of what's happened. And that's it. But I've never lost a fight.
Think you ever will?
I don't think I'll ever lose a fight, no. I don't think I will. I don't think there's nobody out there to beat me. They're all businessmen, like Deontay Wilder, Anthony, whoever is in this era that I'm in. They're all about business. They're all about making money. They're all about doing other business ventures and being celebrities on telly. I want to be a movie star. I want to be this, I want to be that. And I'm just the same old G sitting here in Morecambe drinking me coffee. And I don't really care about all that sort of stuff, business and whatever. But I suppose, like, I come from like a business background. I was earning money at 12 years old. So for them, it's new. But for me, it's something that I've done all my life.
That takes their hunger away. And
I think so, yeah, because they don't really care. I've seen it lately of a lot of fighters. They're doing it for money. They want to just keep getting that paycheck. But for me, if I wasn't 100% focused on what I'm going to do, then I wouldn't want to go in there for any amount of money, because it doesn't mean that much to me.
The money.
You see, now he's lumping everybody else in a big old trash bag. You don't know what other people's motivations are. And Deontay Wilder gave you a shot at becoming something more than what you were, which was out to sea, you know? And you took his kindness for granted, and you pretty much crapped on him. Well, now he's had a chance to wash the crap off, and he's coming back for his. Now you have to deal with that. A person who don't have good intentions for you at all. The first couple of go-arounds, he had competitive intent for you. But now he has not only disdain, but he has the motivation of get back. And you don't know how deep that goes. You do not. None of us do. But see, the world is a stage. I said that earlier. You embarrassed this man on that stage because, like I said, he extended himself and you crapped on him. That's something you're going to have to deal with, Tyson Fury, for the rest of your life. And whether you get in the ring October 9th or not, you're going to have to carry that burden. But there will be nothing like, if you do get in that ring, the burden that you're going to have to face down. Because that will be something that nobody knows. And see, this whole talk, he speaks like a man who thinks he knows it all. But remember, as I said earlier, Nicholas Asbury, in training with him, when he discovered that there was something wrong with Fury's gloves, those people gave the excuse they were trying to build his confidence. Thing about it is, that was a BS excuse, but there was some truth to it. Think about that. And I'll skip ahead a little bit, and there's another point I wanted to get to which was very important here, where he's talking about AJ, okay? Because the thing with AJ is they were questioning why didn't he just go ahead and make the fight with AJ.
I'm going to get straight into it because I watched an interview with your dad about 2 months ago where he was talking about this Wilder fight, this third fight, which he didn't want at the time. And you were preparing for the Joshua fight, weren't you? And then this court case came up.
Yeah.
And you obviously don't listen, you don't conform to authority. You do what you want to do, don't you? But he said chuck the belts in and go and fight Joshua. And I'm surprised you haven't challenged the mafia that is boxing and just gone off. I'm fighting you, I want to fight, I'm the champion, I don't care what belt I've got.
So, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm not optimistic that the fight will ever happen, to be fair.
You don't think he wants it?
Nah. He talks a good game, but is he really a fighting man? I'm not really too sure. After his last performance where he got stopped by a little fat kid, I'm not sure that he could even
Sounds
go
like me.
2-3 rounds.
Sounds like you were boxing me.
Anyway, the talk was me and Joshua were going to fight. No contracts were signed or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, Deontay Wilder's put on an arbitration against me from a top judge and all the best lawyers in America. So I can't do anything about that. If you want to bring a court case against me in America, and even if I've not done anything, I've got to defend it or else I'm guilty. That's how it works. So I said, all right, then let's do it. So they want to go to court and they want to fight for his rematch, and his contract had expired because of the COVID. Yeah. But to be honest with you, fair is fair, and I'm a fair man myself, and if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd want my third fight.
Yeah. Now you heard what he said. Fair is fair. If the shoe was on the other foot, I would want my third fight. But fair isn't fair, is it? Not when it comes to dealing with this man. Divine, what do you got on that statement he just made? And the fact that he said that he didn't think that AJ would want the fight because AJ is not really interested in fighting someone that it would be highly competitive. Divine, you there?
Yeah, you hear me?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think it just comes down to Fury just trying to be standing on the top of the planet and being, the one and only, the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. He's always right. Everyone else is wrong. Everybody's scared of him. He's born into this world as the best boxer ever. And that's his inflated ego, basically, and do I think Joshua is scared of Fury? I think Joshua is more scared of Wilder, to be honest with you, if I had to, be completely honest. I don't think the fight, I think originally, maybe about a year or two ago, I thought the fight would probably eventually happen just because there's just too much money involved and them being both from the UK and all that stuff. But now I'm thinking that the fight is not going to happen, not because I feel Joshua's scared, but because I feel that Fury's going to lose, obviously, on October 9th. And I think Usyk has a very good chance to beat Joshua as well, which then Joshua will probably have to do a rematch and just throws a monkey wrench in the whole situation. And if Fury loses to Wilder, and more than likely a devastating fashion, rather knocked out or beat up, we don't know where he's going to go. He may disappear, he may retire. We don't know what's going to happen to him because he has a track record of not being very consistent and and he has a tendency to, go down dark alleyways. So, look, man, I think for me, it's just a matter of everything that he says is just, like I said, it's just ego, it's bravado. I'm the best. Everybody's scared of me. Everyone's scared of me. I'm too big. I'm too strong. I'm the best boxer. And there's really not much more substance to it than that, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And salute to William Old School Arendt out there in the super chat. He says, great show, Stormy B, man, as always. Thank you for your super chat, William. And it's good to see you. You haven't been around in a while, so good to see you back out there, man. Appreciate your donation to the show and the channel. Reggie, you got something on that last remark?
Yeah, man. All these dudes is Sugar Wilder, man. Even listening to AJ, like this whole conversation, it's like why is Fury and AJ even engaged in anything? AJ got to fight. You ought to be tunnel visioned and focused in on Usyk, because there ain't no just walk around fight. Usyk is a styles matchup that creates problems for AJ. AJ used to dealing with smaller mobile heavyweights who possess enough strength to wear him down. It's going to be a tough fight. He may lose those belts. What's all this talk about facing Tyson Fury? And AJ even talks about facing Tyson Fury if Wilder beats him. And I think the same thing goes for Tyson Fury. They're still going to look to match each other. He may even pull up out of this mug. They don't want to fight Wilder. That's the problem. And even if Wilder's making up all these excuses, he's not happy with the defeat, rematch him. It's part of the game of boxing. Rematch the guy. Prove that you're going to walk through him. You can't fight AJ. AJ's tied in something. Contractually, you should have never signed a rematch clause going into that fight. And you wouldn't be hung up. But you got to do what you got to do. Like, I'm telling you, where he is mentally, his space is mentally, he's not going to win this fight. He's already checked out. He's already checked out of the Wilder fight. He mess around and find a way to get out the fight. He may disqualify himself in the fight and use that as an excuse to go run on the UK media tour and the referee was against me in America, and pull that crap in. That's why we need to just make this a UK thing. Come on, AJ, let's get it on, and all that type of BS. They don't want to fight. They're looking for a way to check up out of here. They have damaged the heavyweight sport of boxing. It's been damaged over in the UK. And legacy-wise, ain't no legacy. Ain't no lineal talk. Nobody cares what a lineal champion is. None of that propped up crap. Nobody cares about it. Why? Because these UK cats have messed it up. It was better off Dillian White being a champion over in the UK. Maybe he would have made the UK proud, but having AJ and Tyson Fury as champions is a no-no. It's a no-no for the sport. Even if they were American, it would be a no-no. But that's my thoughts on it.
This next soundbite brings us to the point of where we really arrived this week. The big old $80 million quote. And once we go through that, then we can just pretty much cook through the rest of the show on it. But I find it very revealing that Tyson Fury decided to basically snitch. That's why the title of tonight's show, It All Comes Clean in the Wash, because he's made his peace with the truth. See, when we were talking about the fact of him not showing up for October 9th, there were some things that we didn't know about that was revealed this week. But I'll go ahead and play the soundbite so people can hear it for themselves, and then we'll cook.
Then me and Wilder's fighting for no belt against each other.
So you would have to fight him contractually, and
Yeah.
what, he would sue you if you didn't, and you'd...
Yeah. Do you know how much the suing case was if I don't fight him? $80 million. I'd have to speak to one of them unhappy millionaires, wouldn't I? Yeah, but listen, there's all sorts of stuff goes on behind the scenes, and I was never very optimistic about that AJ fight happening because this was always going on in the background, and they knew all that. Eddie Hearn knew it, Joshua knew it, they all knew it. But all of a sudden, it's my fault. I don't want to fight because I'm a shithouse. Please. I'd fight him on here and I'd flatten him.
I have spoken to him, and he did say it was you that backed out.
Oh, yeah.
And he wanted you to admit it. He wants you to admit it.
Yeah, I backed out and I admit it. I'm scared of him. I fought the best men in the world at their prime.
Yeah.
And beat them. But I'm scared of this plum.
Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to get to. That quote there that he made, that if he doesn't fight Wilder, he would be indebted to Wilder for $80 million. And that was set by the arbitrator, the judge presiding over Wilder's and Fury's arbitration case. And that was something that we did not know. So he is already in the red with Bob Arum, right? When when it was asked to Bob Arum where does Tyson Fury stand with him on Fred Barbershop Conversations show, he said in the red. Bob Arum said in the red. Fury is in the red. So he's going to have a sore behind because he's in the red with Wilder, and that judge that's presided over the arbitration hearing. He's in the red with him too because he pulled out of that July 24th date. Don't think that there may not be repercussions behind that, because the judge said he had to fight Wilder by a certain deadline. Now, October 9th is when the fight has been pushed back to. Will he show up? There's a great chance that he will appear in the ring and everything under the auspices of what we now understand that he has a economic obligation. That doesn't mean he's going to perform. Yeah. This man is not a winner in life or in the sport of boxing. Now, for some of them that says, well, he's undefeated, he doesn't have an O on his record, that doesn't make him a winner. Because there are people out here in life who gain advantages, but that doesn't mean that they've overcome. There are people out here in life that have done things to separate themselves from others. That doesn't mean that they've achieved. And then there are people out here in life that skirt and curtail their way through obstacles, but that doesn't mean that they've persevered. You understand? And this man here is a living embodiment of that. He's not a winner, people. He's not a winner. He's a cheater. That being said, 80 million is a lot, right? But I would not be surprised if this man showed up and allowed himself to be pounded like ground beef. Because there is where he would gain the sentiment of all these people who don't like Wilder. Or he didn't have to do him that bad. Or he didn't have to. Listen. There are a lot of games that can be played. And do not forget his nickname. Okay? That's my opening statement about this situation. Divine, what you got on it?
80 million. And him having to pay that. I think he's going to show up. I'm probably one of the few channels out here that is obviously a Wilder supporter that has been saying that the fight will happen. And I understand people's doubts. It makes sense. But I just feel like there's more intertwining type situations involved in this fight where it's just got to happen, man. It's the will of the gods. That's just the way I feel about it. Now, to your point, will he show up and fight? I personally think he will. I think he'll try. Fury is a lot of things. He's definitely a cheater, and I agree with you on the whole he's not a winner standpoint. 100% agree. But he does have a lot of pride. I think he has a lot of pride, has a lot of ego. And even though he's not ready, and even though he has excuses prepared for after the fight is over, I still think he's going to try.
As a coach, Divine, I want to say this about what you just indicated about pride. That is what will get you your ass handed to you faster than anything. Okay?
Yeah, I hear. Yeah.
Yeah. That will get you your ass handed to you faster than anything. Because
result is the same for me.
people don't understand. Humility releases you from burden. Pride gets you laden with burden. Remember that, people. Yeah.
I just feel like I don't think that he is just going to be a punching bag. You know, I think he's going to try. I do think he will try to at least try to bully Wilder, you know, in the sense that try to lay up on him, try to get him in some dirty headlocks, try to, you know, do some rabbit punches, shove his shoulder into Wilder's face, you know, and just do some grimy work and just try to squeeze something out. But for me, it doesn't matter. The result is going to be the same. Rather he tries or doesn't try. I think he knows that his fate is on the other side of the valley, and he just has to swallow it and accept it, that this is what it's come down to. He has essentially reaped what he's sowed, right? And he knows what he's done. And like we've been saying, he's a lot of things. But I know you've mentioned it many times, Stormy. He's much more, I guess, savvy or clever than what people give him credit for. He knows what he says, and he's aware of what he does. And my thing is, I feel like he's probably going to show up. He's probably going to try. He might try a few different things. I see him getting knocked down multiple times. Rather he lasts 12 rounds or not, I don't know. It's yet to be seen. But I think he's going to Reggie's point, he's going to get beat up more than likely, if not knocked out. But after the fight is over, I have a very strong feeling that he's going to come out and say, you know, it's been a tough journey. I was dealing with COVID. I was dealing with a lot of personal issues. My newborn was sick. I couldn't train properly, you know, and the excuses will start rumbling down the hill. Then the question is, will people pat him on the back and massage his shoulders and feel sorry for him? Because nobody felt sorry for Wilder when he lost the second fight.
No, they
Everyone
celebrated.
laughed at him.
They celebrated,
Yeah.
and they built statues and everything.
Exactly. So only thing we can do, Stormy and Reggie and others out here putting in this work when it comes to not only boxing, which we love, but in this case, Wilder Fury, is just stand firm, you know, and make sure that we give Wilder his credit and we celebrate. It's our turn to celebrate. And we have no sympathy whatsoever for a man who has lied, cheated his way through the sport for God only knows how long. But a man who drug Wilder's name through the mud when Wilder was the one who pulled him out of the gutter. You know, this is, you know, whatever you want to call it, retribution, revenge, vengeance at its finest, whatever you want to label it as. This is literally the purest definition of it. And I don't want to hear no excuses. Zero. If Fury comes out and says Wilder's the better man, he knocked me out, then I'll say good. But I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe immediately after the fight, like in the ring, if he's able to wake up and speak, he might say that. But once they get to the press conferences, you know, because he gets to his locker room, he has time to think about it. Then I think that's when the excuses will start flowing. And all of those Fury fans and UK fans, are you going to criticize the man who criticized Wilder when Wilder, in your mind, made excuses? Are you going to hold that same energy and the same sentiments that you held against Wilder? That's my question. When Fury comes out making excuses, are you going to call your man out? Because you got upset at Wilder fans for not calling out Wilder when Wilder was making excuses. You guys took an offense to that. So are you going to keep that same energy or not? That's my question. And the answer is more than likely no, they won't. And it just furthers our point about everything that we discuss on our channel, Stormy, is they don't want Wilder in that position. They have disdain for the man. And it's gonna be proven once again. But Wilder will be the two-time heavyweight champion and looking to unify the titles. And that's what matters the most.
What you got on it, Reggie?
Man, what I got on it is being prepared for this guy to look for some way to get out this fight. Either getting himself DQ'd, or Wilder has to be in control of his emotions, because Fury's going to try to do things to get up under his skin to try to get him disqualified. I think he just has to be mindful of that. Malik Scott will keep Wilder grounded. Pretty sure aware of those type of tactics from Tyson Fury, because when things get heavy in this fight, because when you look at the game, it's one thing to look at the physical side of people pounding each other, beating the brains out of one another. That's the physical side of it. But the huge makeup of anything in life is the mental side of it. He's getting frustrated. Things aren't working for him. He's trying to do certain things. His body not responding to it because of the lack of preparation going into this fight. Wilder's mixing him up, frustrating him, confusing him, because the fighter ain't the same as what he's seen in the first two fights. He's seen one version of Wilder. He got a different version of Wilder in the second fight. He comes into this third fight, and this is a complete fighter that no one has had video on inside of a ring. And if it's confusing Tyson Fury, he's going to look for a way out, because psychologically he's going to be getting the crap. He's already a psychologically weak person inside of a fight. He's also a person who masks his psychological weakness by attempting to get under other people's skin. Now, when you can avoid that, falling victim to his antics and stuff, you'll begin to see it doesn't really work on anyone. I mean, you begin to see when it doesn't work, it actually has a reverse effect on him. And the one thing is to just beat this guy psychologically through the aspects of not playing into his games, and also applying the physical pressures that begin to break this guy. But you have to watch out for what he may try to pull inside of his fight. Now, if he accepts defeat, I got to give him his respect. If he comes in here, win this fight fair and square, I got to give him his respect. But I think he's going to crack psychologically, and they have to be aware of him attempting to pull something to get a DQ in this fight against Wilder, or maybe he finds a way out for himself to avoid being knocked out in this fight. But that's my thoughts on it.
He does lick blood, doesn't he? So you don't know what's going to happen.
Well,
right.
Well, it's going to be an interesting situation. I love the fact that things are playing out like they are, because the stakes are high. And when the stakes are high, cream rises to the top. You know, and that's what we'll find out. We will find out the cream rises to the top. So, fellas, this has been a pretty good show. Having this particular subject with these sound bites, I want to say shout out to Drew Titan. The brother has helped me behind the scenes do a couple of things that have made some of my editing process a great deal easier. And I'm still learning some things, but I think being able to play those audios for you tonight was a pretty decent thing. And I love the fact that we were able to discuss this over the time slot for the show, because it's a subject that was worth it. And we culminated with the $80 million quote that came out this week, which ironically lined right up, as I said early in the show, with the title of this evening's show. It all comes clean in the wash. Tyson Fury basically let the cat out of the bag. He talked about the other promoters, Hearn and what's his name? The other guy, Fish Eyes over there, Warren, all of them. They knew, Bob Arum, they knew about this. And they all pretended not to know of it or even speak of it, talking about the arbitration. So, with that being said, let's have some final thoughts. And I'll, for those of you that want to stick around, I got a little video I want to drop for you. But let's have some final thoughts. Divine, you joined us this evening. Thank you for gracing us with some great boxing opinion there. Appreciate you. And give us your final thoughts on this evening's conversation.
Yeah, shout out to the chat, everyone who dropped by tonight. It means a great deal to us when you guys come in and leave your thoughts and be a part of the conversation. That's what it's all about. If you're new to the channel here on Stormy, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, man. Smash that like button as well. I dropped my channel link in the chat if you guys want to drop by my channel as well. And yeah, great conversation. I'm glad we were able to make it up. Stormy, we weren't able to go on last night, but we were able to knock it out tonight. And just want to swing a question to you guys just real quick, a little cherry on the top. I don't think that Fury can really find an adequate sparring partner to really offer what Deontay is going to bring to the table. Just real quickly, do you agree with that?
Unquestionably.
What do you think, Reggie?
Yeah, I see he switched them up. I see he's fighting, what's the guy name? It's one of the big cats out of England. He's I don't know if he's of African descent or Jamaican descent, but it's one of the up-and-coming big heavyweights they have out there in the UK. Not so mobile, not mimicking the style of Wilder, but it's like, why have you shifted away from the partners you had before COVID? So mimicking what he can get to prepare him for this, and I don't think he's getting it. And I don't think they want it. I don't think they want anybody to push this guy too hard. I think he just wants to build his confidence. That's always been the thing of hearing with the trainers with Tyson Fury, is building his confidence. So they don't want to bring partners. If it was true in the case of Big Baby Miller destroying them in training or not, they don't want to bring anyone into a fight that's going to destroy his confidence, because once again, psychologically, he'll be destroyed going this fight. So they're looking for guys who are just going to go through the paces of working on things with him.
Yeah. Since Effie Ajaba and Jarrett Big Baby Anderson had their way with him in sparring, that let him know that over here the future is in good hands in the heavyweight division. So he went back over there and got some of those second-rate guys. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. But they'll get knocked out as well if they came over here. So, hey, listen. My final thoughts on all of this is October 9th can't come fast enough, and the 10th, where we're celebrating, popping champagne corks, and putting our foot deep in Tyson Fury and his dad's behind and get him out of town as fast as possible, because I'm tired of this guy. He should not have had a day in the sun as it turned out to be, and it's time to turn the lights out just like that. So with that being said, thanks to everybody coming out this evening. Appreciate all of you guys, and just enjoy this on your way out, man. Enjoy all of this.
I know what I stand for, and I know what I represent. But my favorite saying, what's understood, don't have to be explained.
Fuck your step aside money, I want it back in blood. Your daddy scared cause my right hand similar to a slug. You can run but can't hide, know exactly where to find you. In the closet grabbing dicks with a pound of coke right beside you. There's no more interviews for you fools that try to diss me. Middle fingers to you fools that laugh when they try to lynch me. Race doesn't matter, come on, be true. It's just a matter of time before they try lynch you. They jealous of my gifts, so of course they all gon' hate. They gon' try whatever to stop me cause I'm too great. A bunch of snakes, watch them season. enjoy when they body shake. Too many liars like Eddie saying, well, I'm weak, mate. They said I was the Preston finish. They lied on my name. Now, no more Mr. Nice Guy. You are to blame. I'm here to hurt you, make you feel like you've been hit by a train. My power's all natural, but you be sniffing cocaine. Your team better have the doctors on standby. For your actions, I'ma make your whole fam cry. It's a must that I expose you. Fuck you up till no one knows you. Oh my God, this might be the day that you die. Your team better have the doctors on standby. For your actions, I'ma make your whole fam cry. It's a must that I expose you. Fuck you up till no one knows you. Oh my God, this might be the day that you. We know you use them dirty tactics. We'll do it again. Applying pressure with the scope. Now there's no way to win. They had me on that juice and I still ain't feel his pillow fist. He tried to run from this third fight cause he a big bitch. Every man that tried to step up got popped and dropped. But this one is personal. Blood will be mopped. This for your wife and kids. I advise them not to come. Getting hit with the right is like getting shot by a gun. There's only one bronze bomber. That's why they all fear me. I will be undisputed. I can see this shit clearly. They cut me off alive cause I ain't like these other guys. I don't bite my fucking tongue. I'ma say what's on my mind. They said I was the Preston finish. They lied on my name. Now, no more Mr. Nice Guy. You are to blame. I'm here to hurt you, make you feel like you've been hit by a train. My power's all natural. You be sniffing cocaine. Your team better have the doctors on standby. For your actions, I'ma make your whole fam cry. It's a must that I expose you. Fuck you up till no one knows you. Oh my God, this might be the day that you die. Your team better have the doctors on standby. For your actions, I'ma make your whole fam cry. It's a must that I expose you. Fuck you up till no one knows you. Oh my God, this might be the day that I want it back in blood. Back in blood. I want it back in blood. Back in blood. I want it back in blood. Back in blood. I want it back in blood. Back in blood. I want it back in blood.
But at this point in time right here, we want it back in blood. Ain't nobody really on this squad no more. We know what happened. He know what happened. Come on. Whatever happens come to 24, then that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? I'm very confident in what I'm gonna do. Whatever happens come to 24.
Wow!